Hello there and welcome to the Premier League Roundup Show, where I'm going to be rounding up the rest of the Premier League's action over the weekend. Liverpool versus Everton has its own video, so feel free to check that one out when it is up on the channel. And Man City versus Burnley is happening tonight, so a review of that will be coming out tomorrow as well. So let me know what your thoughts were on the weekend's action, whoever your team was as well. We're going to get straight into things, looking at Norwich versus Southampton. And Southampton, apart from possession, were dominant in every single way. 22 shots, 9 shots on target, 6 off target, 7 blocked shots. They were absolutely dominant in all areas. I can't believe that they have the majority of the possession and they have the majority of the passes, and their passing accuracy as well. It's actually not that different to Southampton's, to be fair, but you can't have the majority of the ball. All right, it's only by 10%, but even so, you can't have that much of the ball and just not do enough with it, which is exactly what Norwich didn't do. They didn't do enough with it. The defence was always caught out of position. Chasing the attacking players. So it'd almost be like you start your defence over here, the whole unit, and it's running like this, and the whole thing is just running like that. And Danny Ings and Obafemi and anyone else that decided to attack for Southampton had a field day. They genuinely could have had so many more goals. They could have had 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, they had 9 shots on target. There's no doubt that every single one of those could have been a goal. And for me, I think this will confirm that Norwich will be the team that is going down. There's just nothing in this team that makes me think they've got this that will get them out of this issue. They are literally rooted to the bottom of the table. I think they are They're on 21 points. They're 5 points adrift here, 6 points adrift here, and they're at least 7 points from getting out, which means they've got to somehow pick up 3 straight wins somewhere, or just consecutively keep winning, and expect Aston Villa, Bournemouth, West Ham, Watford to lose consecutive games as well, which could happen. But I also don't see Norwich winning games either at the moment. So it's just a poor performance by Norwich. Not what I was expecting. I was expecting that they were going to come out and fight a little bit more. But Southampton were just all over them. And 3-0 victory. Unreal. Now we're going to move straight on to the other game. Tottenham versus Man United. This did not go the way I thought it was going to go. I assumed that Tottenham were going to be the Tottenham that we were before lockdown. And to be fair, for the most part, they were. Harry Kane was very, very poor in this game, but he hasn't played since January or something like that. So he was very, very unmatched fit, and I can't believe he actually lasted the entire game, didn't get taken off, and I think he didn't use all of his substitutions either. That could have been irresponsible for doing that for someone that's been out for so long, not to get substituted, because he was exceptionally tired. If you had a stamina bar, on a football game or something like that, his was in the red. It just wasn't happening for him whatsoever. Eric Dyer gave away a penalty for Man United, but the goal that Bergwijn scored was absolutely brilliant, I thought. Fantastic. Mistake by Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw, in my opinion, in heading the ball up. He just gets on it, dribbles past the defence, dribbles past Harry Maguire, and smashes it at David De Gea, who gets his hands to it, but it goes in the back of the net anyway. Roy Keane was absolutely furious about it, which was hilarious as well at the time. I felt that United were fortunate to get the penalty that Bruno Fernandes scored. It was Pogba, comes on, makes all the difference, gets quite a high rating as well, played some lovely passes, he really did. And started to influence the attacking a lot more, which is what they should be expecting from Pogba. I'm genuinely surprised that they didn't decide to start Pogba and maybe sub him off later on. But hey, I'm obviously not a decision maker. But also, United controlled this game. They did. They controlled this game from start to finish. What Tottenham did was stayed extremely compact. They scored their goal. They went extremely compact. And they basically just went, no one leaves our half. That was essentially it. Get forward if you can. If you can get on a counter, do it. That's absolutely okay. But other than that, just stay back. Let's stay secure. Let's stay tight. And that's all that they were willing to do. United, on the other hand, controlled possession. They looked dangerous at all times. They just couldn't put it in the back of the net. And they had a lot of shots on target as well, really. They had double the amount of shots on target that Tottenham had. And they were dangerous. They were very, very dangerous. There was a close call for a penalty late on as well, when Bruno Fernandes got fouled, but it got called back by VAR, and it finished 1-1, which, to be fair, is probably very, very fortunate for Tottenham as well. It does mean that United haven't actually been able to capitalise on the likes of Sheffield United that were chasing them as well to get a bit more distance on them. And we'll come on to other results as well that might have, not fell in their favour. But Tottenham as well, they will probably feel like a little bit hard done by. I felt it was a soft penalty, but it was probably the right call to give the penalty that Eric Dyer caused. But even so, they'd worked hard defensively, so they probably feel really hard done by that. 1-1, there's not a great deal else to speak about really about that one, so we move straight on to Watford v Leicester. And I was surprised by this game as well. I felt that this was going to be a weekend of surprises, and to be fair, it really was in other games as well. I thought Leicester were going to come out and absolutely smash these lot. I genuinely did. I really, really did. This was probably, right up until the 90th minute, one of the most entertaining 0-0s I've seen in a long time. And then Ben Chilwell takes a ball from... Who was it who took the ball from? Someone crossed the ball to, I think it might have been Damari Gray. Crossed the ball over to Ben Chilwell. And Chilwell just takes it down, puts it on the floor and smashes it from right outside the box. Puts it in the back of the net on the 90th minute. And you're thinking, fair play, what a game. What a goal to win a game by. Fair play to you, absolutely. And then the ball comes into Watford's box and Craig Dawson scores his first goal for Watford ever with an overhead scissor kick or a bicycle scissor kick, whatever. And then the game finishes. I couldn't believe what I was seeing in front of me. I couldn't believe. Two defenders have scored some absolute firecrackers for these two teams. And it's probably a fair result. Yes, Leicester were dominant, but you can't have 15 shots and only 2 on target. That's probably what was letting them down massively. That's probably where the rustiness has come from. But on the face of it, everything else, you're probably thinking, that's actually a fair result on the face of things. A 1-1 doesn't do much for Leicester, also doesn't do a great deal for Watford, but a hell of an entertaining game, it has to be said. And when we speak about entertaining games, we're speaking about Brighton versus Arsenal. Now, a mate of mine who is an Arsenal fan isn't going to appreciate this whatsoever, but it was fully expected in a way. I predicted that Arsenal were that this was going to be a draw. This was going to be a 1-1 draw. And I don't know what it is with Arsenal. You look at that lineup, and attacking-wise, that's probably one of the strongest lineups that they could put out. Aubameyang, Lacazette, Pepe. Then you have Bukayo Saka, who's just behind, who's done really well in that position as well. Ceballos, Guendouzi, iffy. Hector Bellerin, iffy. Sead Kolasinac, iffy. It's one of those things, and I don't know why Tierney if Tierney could have got subbed on the 87th minute, I don't understand why you couldn't just play him from the start and maybe sub him off later. The biggest talking point out of this game, obviously, is the Bernd Leno Maupe collision that caused Bernd Leno to get injured. And it doesn't look like a good injury. No injury is good, but you know what I mean when I say it doesn't look like a good injury. Looks like quite a bad one. It looks like he's jarred his knee. Basically what's happened, obviously, you will have seen it, but I'll talk about it anyway. Ball is going towards Bernd Leno. He's gone up in the air, 2 feet off the air, to catch the ball. Maupe has come in and just given him a nudge. And he genuinely has. He's given him a nudge. Whether you want to say it's malicious or not, it's entirely up to you. He's given him a bit of a nudge, putting himself on the player, putting himself on the goalkeeper. What happened is that Leno has lost his balance in midair. And when he's come down, it looks like I didn't see the replay because they wouldn't show it. And I can imagine that he's probably really badly jarred his knee by the way it looked like he landed. Almost looked like he pencil dived his leg into the floor and landed horrifically bad, got stretchered off, was shouting at Maupe as he was getting when he was getting stretchered off as well. And Martinez, the goalkeeper, came on as well, who I don't think really did anything wrong, in my opinion. People might disagree with that, but I think he did what he could. I don't think that the goals that were scored against Martinez were generally his fault. I felt that the defence was very, very at fault for those goals as well. Then obviously later on into the game, I think very, very near the end of the game or at the final whistle, was Guendouzi went up to Maupe, grabbed him by the throat and all this sort of stuff, and you're like, you don't do that sort of thing. If you know what, do it in the changing rooms. or something like that. If you want to go and confront someone, don't do it out on the pitch. I don't think that Maupay did any of that intentionally, in my opinion. And that's my opinion. Now, people are finding clips of Maupay and putting them all online saying, like, look at all these incidents that he's been involved in. And it's like, yeah, fair enough. But, like, you've also then got the primary people you've got to be looking at here as well is the referees. You know, the referees aren't picking up on these sorts of things. And another one that they weren't picking up on in this game as well was Bissouma, Yves Bissouma. Now, if Yves Bissouma had that type of performance and he played for Arsenal, guarantee Arsenal fans would love him. Like, he put so many fouls on all of their players and he never picked up a yellow card once. Not once. But I guarantee if Bissouma played for Arsenal and he put in that type of performance, putting those tackles on the opposition, Arsenal fans would love him. So while Arsenal fans are being very, very vocal at the moment about things going against them, they've also got to look at, they've got Brighton have a midfielder there in Bissouma that you could benefit from. But instead you've got Bukayo Saka, Danny Ceballos and Guendouzi in your midfield. And that's not a physical midfield. It's not a great midfield for battling. They battled in this game and they got their just rewards, Brighton. They come out, they get the 1-1, and you're thinking, Jesus Christ, it's 1-1. You sort of expect it. Didn't expect Brighton to go on and win the game. And a lot of that was down to Bellerin as well, getting caught out of position, getting caught too high up the pitch, and Maupay has got enough space to work, Aaron Connolly as well, to supply the ball. So it's a disappointing one for Arsenal, honestly. Like, I couldn't believe it. And I think if results have gone to go against them, like if Burnley pick up a surprise win or something like that against Man City or something like that, then Arsenal would drop into 11th. Like, it's a crazy situation for those guys right now. But hey, we move on to West Ham versus Wolves. Not a shocking result, to be fair. Like, Wolves are a very, very strong team. And I felt that Wolves only got stronger. Like, it shows you something that there's absolutely no highlights of anything for the first half in here, because that was pretty much what it was. It was a lot of controlling by Wolves, but not a great deal of adventure or anything like that. But what you did see in this game was when Traore came on in the 64th minute and Neto, those two substitutions alone changed the game. And what it did for Wolves was it turned the screw against West Ham. And West Ham just didn't have the quality of play. They've got some quality players. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they don't have quality players. But I'm saying that the quality of their play was just nowhere near Wolves. And especially by the time when, you know, Neto and Traore came on. And it's no coincidence that Traore goes on and gets an assist for Jimenez. And then bloody, what was it? Neto absolutely smashes a volley into the back of the net for the second goal. And it was just Wolves. It was Wolves that you expect to see now. It was a very, very clinical Wolves who were very, very good. There's not too much else to say about it, really. It means that West Ham are still, you know, fighting down near the relegation zone at the moment. But it was going to be a big ask for West Ham to get something out of this game against Wolves. So it didn't surprise me. It really didn't surprise me in this one. Bournemouth v Crystal Palace. Again, it's another one of these games where it's Bournemouth. And I know people will know exactly what I mean when I say that, when I say it's Bournemouth. I don't expect a result out of Bournemouth at all. And they've lost, who was it, Lewis Cook, on 90 plus 3 minutes. They lost him to a red card, so that didn't really affect anything either. Milivojevic scored a banging free kick, and it was really, really good. And then Jordan Ayew scored a really well-worked goal as well. And just very, very controlled. And this is why I'm worried as a Liverpool fan coming up against these guys midweek, because they were, and I know it was they're playing against Bournemouth. It's going to be different when they play against Liverpool. But even so, they looked very, very solid, looked very controlled. They didn't even have most of the possession in this game, but they never need it to be dangerous. They've done things like this against bigger teams than Bournemouth. They've done it in the past against like an Arsenal. They've I think when they shocked Man City last season or the season before, whenever that was, they've got, they're playing very well. They're playing their style very, very well, and they took their 2 shots on target and scored 2 goals. Like, they're a problem And full credit to Crystal Palace as well. They're now ninth. They're now above Arsenal. They're 2 points above Arsenal at this moment in time. So credit to them and Roy Hodgson, because they've done very, very well. And Bournemouth, I think Bournemouth are almost a shoo-in to go down just as much as Norwich at this point. It is literally only the fact that they've got a couple of points away from Aston Villa and other teams as well that they could turn it around, but I just don't see it, in my opinion. We move on to Newcastle versus Sheffield United. This result shocked the hell out of me. I'm watching the game. All right, yes. Sheffield get a red card. John Egan gets sent off. It's arguable whether, and to be fair, I know Chris Wilder was talking about it shouldn't have been a yellow card for John Egan in the first half, but on that same token, Joe Linton got a yellow card at the same time and still controlled himself not to get a red card. John Egan got a second yellow 5 minutes into the second half. It takes a lot out of that team that is set up specifically as a 3-5-2. You take away one of their best centre-backs, then also add into the fact that Dean Henderson, who has been solid all the way throughout this season, decided not to have a good game for whatever reason, just didn't do very well. And the defence that were left for Sheffield didn't check a ball that came in from Matt Ritchie, came all the way through. All he had to do was clear the ball, and it went through his legs. He missed it. He miskicked it. St. Maximin comes in and just slots it near post through Dean Henderson, and it was just a shocking. that was a shock at first, and then it was Matt Ritchie scored he scored a really, really good goal, nice from a good distance out as well. And then a little bit later on as well. I mean, people were saying online, you're having a bad performance when Joe Linton scores against you. It's kind of true because he's only scored 2 goals for Newcastle, but it was a good goal, well-worked goal, and a thoroughly deserved victory for Newcastle. In a game they didn't dominate in possession, but they were very, very good elsewhere. Look at that. 12 shots, 8 on target. Those are stats that you need to go in your favour to score multiple goals. And if Newcastle can do more of that, they will find themselves pushing up a little bit further. They could even push up above the likes of an Arsenal, something like that. They're only 2 points away as well. It's very tight in this position here. You don't know what Newcastle could do by the end of this season, and it's really refreshing to see. Maybe people will get behind Steve Bruce a little bit more after performances like this, and if they can do more performances like this. But very, very good performance overall. And the final one we're going to look at is Aston Villa versus Chelsea, and I felt it was very flat by Chelsea in the first half. They had a lot of possession, good couple of chances, but weren't taking them, and then all of a sudden they get caught out. A ball is bobbling around the box, not dealt with properly by the defence, and Courtney House, I think that's his name, puts it in the back of the net for Aston Villa, literally almost on half-time. So then, substitutions are made. Ross Barkley comes in, Christian Pulisic comes in as well, and it makes a difference. Pulisic somehow didn't sky this ball and put it in the back of the net, and literally 2 minutes later, sucker punch, Olivier Giroud turns, and I think on his weak foot as well, on his right foot, puts it in the back of the net, and that was it. They control the rest of the game, see the rest of the game out, and they're happy. That is pretty much all that you can say there. It was there for Aston Villa just to sort of, score your goal, control it, and if you can make more chances, take them. But they couldn't do it. They couldn't hold up to the pressure. And the amount of possession that Chelsea had also tells. They had a lot of possession. They were putting a lot of pressure on, a lot of attacking movement. And when you've got the likes of a Mason Mount, Pulisic running at you, Ross Barkley's coming at you, Williams coming at you as well, it's a lot to deal with. And a team that is in the bottom 3, I think, are they in the bottom 3? Yes, they are in the bottom 3. For a team that's in the bottom 3, it's difficult to deal with, and they just couldn't soak it up any longer. And it was 2 moments of quality, to be fair. Obviously, Pulisic was lucky to put the amount of power and accuracy onto his shot that he did. But Giroud, his goal was just quality. That was just classic Giroud. Makes a quick half turn in the box and just smashes it in the back of the net. I bet Arsenal sort of regret getting rid of him now anyway. And that fully rounds us up for the weekend's game. Man City versus Burnley is happening tonight, so I will review that tomorrow. That'll be Tuesday afternoon, that comes out as well. Looking at the Premier League table, nothing has really changed a great deal. Wolves are now tied with Man United on points. Man United have a better goal difference. It's, that fifth position isn't sealed for Man United just yet. Top four hasn't changed. Chelsea, Leicester, Man City, obviously Liverpool at the top. The bottom of the table hasn't really changed a great deal either. Losses for Norwich, Villa, Bournemouth and West Ham means that they all stay on the same points that they were coming into this week as well. So hey, let me know what you think of the weekend's games and all of the results that happened in that game. How did your team do? Did you do okay? Did you not do as well as you thought? And how do you think you're going to do in your next set of games as well? Please do feel free to let me know it in the comments below. Thank you ever so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please do like it and subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you once again, and I'll catch you later.